Voters do not agree with these despicable women on The View. They are wildly out of touch with the vast majority of Americans, and frankly, they should seek immediate help.
And this is why, of course, she's on The View and not working for the most powerful man in the world, because Karoline would wipe the floor with you, Bishop, Banshees, any day.
Joe Biden knows how to do this.
Yes.
He knows how to do this. He's quite good at this. And, you know, you can't refute anything with him because he just, when I say him, I mean...
Rambles.
Trump.
Yeah.
He tends to just...
But can I mention one thing?
So a few days ago, we brought you the epic verbal showdown between the new White House press secretary Karoline Leavitt and Whoopi Goldberg. But what we failed to show you due to time constraints was the details of the encounter and the epic reactions. So brace yourselves because what you're about to watch next would shock you. In the meantime, remember to subscribe to this channel. If you don't want to miss epic moments like this, I too am a working mom and always have been. I've, been a professional woman since I graduated from college or law school, but now there's, I think, a good thing, which is like the restoration of valuing so-called traditional, moms, and that's great. The women who take care of their kids full-time, most of my best friends are doing exactly that. But it seems like in the right, there's like a bit of a shift toward like, you can't do what Karoline's doing. That's actually like an unsafe for a dangerous or a bad choice for families, for children, which I reject wholesale, but you hear it more and more. Yeah, what do you hear that and what do you think of it right off the bat? The woke mob did what the woke mob does best, lose their minds and try to mom shame her because apparently if you dare to outwit the self-proclaimed queen of woke Whoopi Goldberg, her minions will descend like Twitter trolls on a trending hashtag. And with the woke brigade, nothing, and I mean nothing, is off limits. Not your arguments, not your character, and certainly not your family. So what was their brilliant comeback after Leavitt verbally suplexed Goldberg on national TV? Did they challenge her facts, her professionalism? Nope, they went full 1950s and asked, why is a mother of a 7-month-old even working? Yes, folks, the same crowd that screams women can do it all suddenly hit pause and decided that this particular working mom was out of line. Apparently, if you embarrass a daytime talk show host, you're supposed to go home, bake cookies. And think about what you've done. Hypocrisy through the roof. Self-awareness. Somewhere in a witness protection program. I would reject that. It's a bad choice. Is it a tough choice? Absolutely. As a mother, you want to be with your child 24/7. You have that maternal instinct 27, not all the time. Well, right now, yes, because he's 7 months and just squishy and lovable, but I'm sure that will change. No. But you do have that maternal instinct, but also recognizing like I'm doing this work for my son and for all children to make this country better. And it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's also it's temporary, right? In 4 years, my son will be 4 years old and the president will no longer be at the White House. And then I'll move on and do something else, but this chaos of 24/7 work is a temporary matter, and that's what at least I tell myself to get through these very long and hard days. But I would reject that. You can't be a good mom and be good at your job. I think you can do both. It's not for everybody. And it takes a lot of work and will and faith and prayer. And it's hard, but it can be done. And, I would reject that, and just like that, Karoline Leavitt effortlessly obliterates the woke outrage like swatting away a fly with a sledgehammer. She calmly explains what should be common sense. It is possible to balance motherhood in a career without sacrificing one for the other. Groundbreaking, right? Someone alert the think tanks. But here's where Leavitt really flips the script. She unapologetically embraces traditional values, acknowledging that juggling work and raising a child is tough, and it's not for every woman. Shocking, I know. A woman daring to say, hey, my lifestyle isn't one size fits all. Unlike life, you can have it all or you fail. Feminism. Mantra Leavitt takes a more mature approach. She graciously points out that women who choose full-time motherhood deserve respect, not condescension, because believe it or not, nurturing the next generation is just as valuable as climbing the corporate ladder. In the end, Leavitt doesn't just win the argument, she exposes the left's hypocrisy for what it is. Performative empowerment with a side of mom-shaming. But if you thought the left couldn't get any worse, they surprise you with a new low conspiracy theorist. And I got to ask you because they said, are you aware of any plots from Elon Musk to push President Trump down the stairs? Absolutely not. Let me be unequivocally clear about that. And watching this clip, I couldn't help but think how ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists. But they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of years. They likened President Trump to Hitler. They have mocked him. They have shamed him. They have lied about him, consistently, on their show, and it was a joy to watch them on November the 6th when they realized that tens of millions of Americans do not listen to the lies that they have spewed. These women are completely out of touch with reality. Yes, you heard that right. The left, the self-proclaimed champions of facts, evidence, and logic, have officially traded their science's real yard signs for tinfoil hats. They've sunk to the level of low-budget conspiracy theorists you'd expect to find ranting on a street corner with a cardboard sign and their latest mind-blowing theory. Brace yourself for this one. Apparently, Elon Musk, the guy busy launching rockets and revolutionizing transportation, has secretly hatched a plot to take down Trump by pushing him down the stairs. Yes, really, because nothing screams billionaire. Master plan like schoolyard tactics, and who's leading this intellectual charge? None other than The View's finest, the daytime talk show harpies who've somehow convinced themselves they're running a congressional committee from their coffee table. Why? Because Leavitt destroyed their queen bee, and they wanted their pound of flesh. So what better person to target than Lit's boss, Donald Trump, and his friend Elon Musk? It's like watching satire write itself. But Karoline Leavitt wasn't about to let that nonsense slide. She fired back with some choice words that didn't just debunk the lunacy, but left the conspiracy crowd scrambling for their next half-baked theory. A lot of women are preparing themselves for the impact of the incoming administration, which has led to this growing mantra from male right-wing incels, your body, my choice. Say that to my face. Never one to back down easily, Whoopi Goldberg mustered the courage to take another swing at Karoline Leavitt. Albeit indirectly, of course, because even she knows the kind of verbal obliteration that awaits anyone foolish enough to challenge Leavitt head-on. So instead of confronting Leavitt directly, Goldberg took the coward's route. She set her sights on Trump, and that's when she did the unthinkable right there on national television. Goldberg spat after uttering Trump's name like a cartoon villain who just tasted defeat. Classy, right? Because nothing says intellectual rebuttal like spitting on cue. Well, Leavitt didn't let that one slide. She fired back with the precision of a surgeon and the force of a freight train. This is what passes for debate now, Leavitt scoffed. When you can't win on facts, you resort to playground antics. Imagine being so triggered by one man's name that you start spitting like a toddler refusing broccoli. It's embarrassing. No wonder daytime TV ratings are in freefall, and she didn't stop there. Leavitt called out the hypocrisy loud and clear. These are the same people preaching about civility and respect, yet here they are turning ABC into a slapstick comedy show. By the time Lev was done, Goldberg's bold statement looked less like defiance and more like desperation. The internet agreed memes flooded in faster than The View's producers could hit the commercial break. Many who followed the heated exchange between Leavitt and Goldberg threw their weight behind the White House press secretary. One of them wrote, "On social media, these women are going to have to hide at some point. I wouldn't feel comfortable walking down the street if I were any of them." Others pointed out that she spat on the face of all Americans who voted for Trump. One commented literally she spat on the face of the Trump supporters, what it is half. The American people, some also thought that Whoopi's antics were just part of some elaborate act to get more views on the show, they wrote. "I'm convinced they pay her extra to act foolish. You must have really wrestled with how you were going to." Meet the high bar set by Karine Jean-Pierre. "Was that sorry was that out loud? No, she was terrible." "Yeah, I mean, come on." "Yeah, so how is your approach different, would you say?" I think it's vastly different, and if you ask people even in the legacy, media, even the Trump haters, they will tell you the approach has been much different, not just for me, but the entire White House. Oh, absolutely, they come my office every day, and they'll admit that off the record, maybe not on the record, but they will say they appreciate the access and the transparency and the preparation that goes into my briefings, and everybody on our team, by the way, who goes out to the cameras and speaks. We have great policy experts who are great spokespeople for the president. Now, I'll admit I'm digressing a bit here, but did Karoline Leavitt just expose the legacy media and Trump haters in one fell swoop? Because this part is gold, think about it. These are the same people who've pounced on Leavitt every chance. They get from questioning her credentials to mom-shaming her. The woke journalists have practically made it their side hustle to drag her at every turn. If Leavitt breathes wrong, there's an op-ed about it within the hour. But here's where it gets interesting. Off camera, away from their performative outrage and blue checkmark bravado, these very same critics are reportedly sneaking into Lit's office,